7 o'clock. I'll
Yes.
call this meeting to order. And I would like to take consideration of Charles DeGloria up before we resume the.
Yeah, you want table general business?
Huh?
You want table general? business?
And yeah, that. So yeah, we have an application for the associate member of the Upton Planning Board, and this is a joint meeting to consider whether or not we move forward with that. Mr. DeGloria came to the last planning board meeting, I believe, and is pretty impressed, but we figured that we have a joint meeting and folks can ask any questions and vote to accept or deny the application.
Any questions from the Board of Selectmen?
I have no questions.
No, I went through this. I finally didn't.
Just a little introduction of sort of how long you've been in Upton, where I mean, I read what's here, but sort of, what's your,
I've only been in Upton for like 4 years. I've retired, working with the Navy on the submarine program, and my entire family basically is up here. So when I went down south and then, traveled around and stuff, everybody was here. So when I retired, they just all looked down at me and said, yeah, I mean, you're not really gonna stay down there, right?
now that you're done with the work thing, you
Yeah.
come up here, right?
That's right.
No reason not to, no
That's right.
excuses.
Yeah, you don't want that casual living down there. So so about 4 years ago, my daughter let me know that they were building Upton Ridge at the time. They had a trailer there anyway. So came up and looked at it and went through it all and kind of like, the way it would kind of weaving the community into the, into the natural surroundings, so to speak.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I guess at that point I said, well, why not?
So,
So it's really only been 4 years since I've been back in town, but I was born and raised in Leominster, so I'm pretty familiar with the area.
Yeah.
With the sports activities and stuff, I spent a lot of time around the Worcester area, all the surrounding towns here, so. So it's felt good to be home again, kind of, so to speak. But it's, it kind of reminds me of the town we were in Connecticut, just because I was telling the board members last time I was here, the town of Waterford, down there was a very rural town. A lot of farmland, but it had land on the water and stuff, so it was just a nice quiet place to raise a family, and it just kind of reminded me of the whole Upton vibe that I got when I came back up here.
Yeah.
And I did spend a number of years there on the Planning and Zoning Commission. And we had our challenges, but much like y'all have here, we tried to do smart things with zoning to keep the natural and the home feel of the town in place, while making sure that the growth didn't spread, so to speak, outside of we had like a 95 corridor coming down, or 395 corridor. So we tried to kind of make it look all that way, but so it feels just very it just feels very familiar, just a number of years later. So I don't know, I was kind of hoping I could contribute some way and maybe keep Upton feeling that way, so send my application.
thank you very much.
Thank you, and we appreciate it.
Really,
You're very well qualified.
We almost locked him in the room last time and then we were.
This is just the beginning. Like, once you start, we're gonna be like, oh, wow, you can do so many things.
Yeah.
So much help.
It's supposed to
Oh,
tell
no,
it's really
it's-
official.
all right,
Stop.
all right.
Yeah, we haven't voted yet.
Don't let go to your head.
So do I hear a motion?
Move to accept Charlie, to recommend Charlie as an alternate member.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay. All in
Associate.
favor, I'm gonna roll, well, there's nobody,
Somebody online.
oh, okay, so we can do it, this way, hand vote, or A's. It's been so long since we've done that, because we always have someone call in, so we always have to do the roll call votes.
Yeah.
So I'm not used to doing the A and A vote, so, actually, I'll do roll call anyway, Tommy. You.
Aye.
Brett,
Hi.
Bill,
All right.
Ken.
Aye.
Maureen, and Kathy Robertson, aye. So it's a unanimous vote between the Board of Selectmen and the planning board.
It's a close one, but you made it.
Congratulations.
Now you can start.
I'm gonna have to leave with a tiebreaker.
One of the most important thing is most of the people that come into the planning board want you to fill up the moat and raise the bridge. They're the last ones to come into town.
Is that,
That's why it looks like it does.
no,
True.
I think that's in every town.
Yeah. Most
I'm
people
here,
want,
no one else comes in, right?
it has to grow, but if it can grow slowly and controlled, that's the best way to keep your
Course not.
services in
Well,
town.
I think Charlie said that in his application. He said he talked about investments. You can, so,
they're very smart.
Yeah.
It was smart.
okay, so you guys can leave now.
What are you kicking us out?
Motion to, adjourn.
Yes.
Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I make motion to adjourn the select board meeting.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
It's unanimous.
You guys can just shoot it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, I know.
Thank you very much.
I thought that's down this time. You get one.
You know.
Well, I appreciate that, but.
Thank you.
Business time.
Good hearing.
No, I was thinking here, I'll show them. I think you're right.
That's not development. Not here.
Doesn't take long to pick up on.
Looking at some plans.
What's going on?
Good.
You know, 'cause they're the one-
Yeah.
You know, we used to do the carnival.
Yeah, but-
Make them, yes, they're waiting, they're saying. I know.
Challenges are.
He had.
I give it time.
Legs.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I just don't wait it on there.
See you. Good night. Great to see you. Thank you.
We should do this more often.
Yeah. That was fun.
Joint meetings, I love it. See ya.
Hi.
Learn a lot.
Okay, so we will resume our meeting and go. And Margaret is the,
She's gonna get nominated for future.
I know. Well, she already is. Well, why don't we start with that effort? Why don't we start, approve the previous minutes? Did everyone have a chance to read the minutes? Paul did circulate them. Paul does perfect.
Yeah, we gotta do we gotta do a party for him too.
Yes, I know.
I would approve minutes as distributed.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Nay. So, treasurer's report,
I got nothing. I don't think so.
okay?
Good.
Planners report,
Stoddard Street, the discontinuance of the public way. I'm just, was waiting for town meeting to get over and done with, and so I'll get them in front of select board so that we can have a discussion with the select board.
was that the little stub?
Yes, yeah, and just have the discussion with the select board as to whether or not they'd be willing to, back an article before town meeting for the discontinuance of that.
Back and sponsor.
Sponsoring meetings.
Can I make a request, because Charlie's new and
Yeah.
I'm kind of slow sometimes,
Mhm.
so if you can provide like a more thorough
Yeah, sorry.
description of some of the stuff. That'd be,
It'd be helpful if I mass map around this, might be helpful to just look at it.
you know,
Hey,
two.
what a hit for two.
Oh, hold on. It's ghost typing now. I'll just do this.
1T's daughter, Bill.
There we go. See, I know where I am. So this is 12 Stoddard Street. There's this little cutout in front of it that is not a part of the property, and it is a part of the right of way for some reason. Sure, we can think of a reason as to why that would exist historically, but it exists.
Is that the house they just ripped to the ground?
Yeah, that cutout existed, I think, before the road was approved.
Sure. Yeah.
Stagecoach or something?
Not only knows.
Yeah, so and as you can see, if I bring up the aerial. It's not a great aerial picture, but I think it's just basically their front yard, yeah, the driveway's here, but it's being used basically as their front yard because there's really no other use for it. And I mean, nobody's.
The house.
Yeah.
Why was it there? Does historical have
Yeah.
anything on it?
Oh, I haven't reached out to the commission.
Why it was cut out originally? It would have to be, wouldn't be just.
So I checked the deeds and I got back to the mid 1800s in it.
Oh, you did?
The deed itself has the cutout.
Oh,
And I looked at some historical maps and stuff.
Yeah.
It didn't exist when the deed was
oh,
issued. So like I said, I think that existed before the road was put in.
Yeah.
And so, but who knows? There was, I mean, I don't know if this is meaningful, but there was a shoe shop somewhere in there.
Hmm.
I think along, it's now High Street.
It wouldn't surprise me if there was a business in the mid 1800s in that area. Where you
it's
would
just that cutout, yeah.
just go get your horseshoe or whatever. it was. That's what I was thinking, historical. You know, what was there way back.
Or a secondary town pound or something.
Or that there was a well or something that
Yeah.
was, that the property across the road there wanted to keep.
Mhm.
But it's not at all, I mean, the deed just reflects the.
Right, it could have been like a carriage house for the property
Yeah,
across the
yeah,
street.
exactly.
Then it disappeared.
I'm gonna have one of those, guys with the,
So
metal detectors. Go see what, because then you can find out if it's a horseshoeing shop or a job with a client or anything.
And
Is this
so.
your YouTube channel?
Yeah.
And so anyway, and the owner of 12 Stoddard now does own this 0 Stoddard essentially. Right there, so and clearly they are really the only ones with any interest in this. I'll call it useless. But what Bill mentioned might, title might be an issue. I haven't done a lot of discontinuances of roads, but my understanding is that when you do discontinue it, it would revert back to whatever the ownership was at the time. And so if it wasn't fee simple owned by 12 Stoddard, that might create a situation where maybe the town has to offer it up to sale to.
Well, Bill has mentioned that that's a well. On the very bottom of my driveway, I have a well hand dug that belonged to the guy across the street before the power line. And it was a separate, just like that, little separate deed, but it went to across the street.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if that deed goes across the street as opposed to 12 Stoddard.
Oh, that's actually,
Yeah.
actually, I should
Yeah.
take a look at the deed for 13.
That's
Good
very.
question, that didn't even occur to us, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
that was a carriage house for the car, house across. That would make sense.
I would be asking, I'm working with an attorney who represents 12 Stoddard, I'd be asking that they do all the title work really to provide this to the Board of Selectmen so that the town isn't basically putting the legal bill for something that benefits, likely will benefit just them.
so this is not a planning board issue.
It will be, because it'll come to this board for a recommendation of the discontinuance of the thing. So that's where we are with that. They're actually going to zoning board tomorrow night for a variance due to the what was just mentioned, because that they were doing work on the house there. And the house collapsed as they were trying to do work to it.
Was that what happened?
Yeah.
I wonder why they spent so much time before they knocked it down.
Yeah, because they weren't trying to knock it down.
They didn't want to knock
Unfortunately,
it down.
no, they weren't trying to knock it down with all the connections still hooked up, electrical, gas, and
That's unfortunate.
yeah, it is unfortunate. So anyways, they need a variance because it completely fell down, so the structure was removed, and to rebuild it in that footprint, it's way too close to the front, so they come back for variance.
Okay.
Expression of interest on Holy Angels is being done through the Economic Development Committee. We only got one response on that. Couple of residents put together a response just proposing that it be essentially a cultural center of sorts. So I can, if anybody's interested, I can circulate that response.
I would like to see that.
Sure.
You know where Holy Angels is, right, Charlie? Holy Angels is, it's almost, yes, it's across the street from the vacant,
Yeah, that's the vacant, church is,
there's a
Yeah,
church,
right across from the
there's
pizza
a
place
little
there.
retail strip, and then there's a church,
right,
and yeah, it's across from the beach and liquor store. And next to the community center, you're going up towards the community center.
How much would it take to take the basketball up here and move it?
I think they may have already done that, you know?
Not a bad idea.
is that already occupied? No. I thought it was already occupied.
Empty,
No, it's empty, yeah.
Town's owned it for quite a while.
he was removed, but God's still there.
There's this one right here. I always forget the name of it.
United Parish,
United Parish.
United Parish
That's
is
on
very
this level,
occupied, yeah.
Yeah. So just more work to be done on that. But then that flows into my next topic, which is I'm working on a scope of services to do a redevelopment feasibility study for Holy Angels and the Thompson block just to the south of it, the retail shops that Kathy was mentioning. And so I just had a preliminary conversation with Weston Sampson today, who's an engineering and planning firm. And talking with them about wrapping into that study, also doing, because the town had earmarked economic development funds to do resource delineation in this entire area, you know, noting where the wetlands are, where the floodplain is, and doing that pre-permitting analysis to set the table for any potential redevelopment in the future, which is what the grant funds that I had obtained to go for the redevelopment feasibility study of Holy Angels is going to help inform that. So I'm wrapping those grant funds in together and engaging engineering and planning firms to see if we can get it kind of all done in one.
Yeah.
And my aim, we have that completed by December of this year is what I told them today when I spoke with them. So we'll see if they come back with interest in the project and a potential date of completion and cost that jives with all the funds I have available for that.
So they would be doing, so we wouldn't be doing a solicitation for interest before we had the wetlands delineation, we'd be doing concurrently.
Yeah, so and what I verified with Joe as the procurement officer and with town council and Dennis was in the room as well, our DPW director, which is because it's planning and engineering, there's exemptions within the state procurement law. We don't have to do a full out formal RFP, RFQ process. It's basically just reaching out to planning consulting firms and getting an understanding of the work and a general bid on it. And don't have to waste time on those lengthy RFP processes.
Yes, good idea.
I think I mentioned this last time, town council had given us a draft RFP for the lease of the Racine building. The Racine building is the now vacant library building across the street. The town at the previous town meeting voted to allow the select board to lease out the old library space. And so that's what we're aiming to do is put it out on the street for folks who are interested in leasing that property for potential retail space. And so again, town meeting kind of came into the middle of things. We've been waiting for town meeting to go away, and then Joe and I, town manager, will revisit that and hopefully get that out on the street to get, because I at least one person reached out to me who expressed interest in going in there. And obviously I know of another person in town across the street who's interested in going into there. So
Is it the
there's
same space or different space?
same space.
I mean, because it's a big building, so you have two people looking at the same,
Oh, I think we would only we could only support one of them,
oh,
unfortunately.
The top floor cannot be rented out, right, because it's not handicapped accessible only.
Correct, yeah. In this case, we have the ADA ramp that was installed on the other side. And so because of that, we can rent out that first floor without running afoul of ADA and architectural access board issues. But yeah, obviously that also restricts us to not being able to rent out any empty space and additional floors above because they're not accessible.
so how is the decision going to be made about what use goes in there? If there are two people that are interested in doing it, is it the highest and best use for the town, or?
Yeah, that's basic. I mean, that's the verbiage that's used within the language. Also, I imagine what would play into that is, you know, we'd be asking folks who are applying to quote the town what they are willing to spend per month in, you know, on rent. And so that'll have an impact as well.
The economic report that you sent
Mm.
has a lot of that information in there as to what's market value at this point.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah.
It's not gonna meet the uses of that district anyway, right? Business district in here.
Oh, yeah.
So they're proposed as to come to that.
Yes, exactly. The 40B ongoing, obviously, tomorrow, May 15, is the next zoning board meeting on that. The 40B is an affordable housing project.
Yes.
You had those in Connecticut.
It's,
Yeah. And same rule applies here. And so, yeah, tomorrow is gonna be a long meeting. We have, I think, 7 other applications on for that meeting. It was a weirdly busy rush to get in applications for variances and special permits in April for some reason. So,
Well, there's been a lot of chatter
Hmm.
about that, about historical, you know, the historical integrity and how that was overlooked in the
Hmm.
process, and about, you know, I think there'll be quite a conversation at the meeting.
yeah, I was approached by a resident with those exact concerns, and I directed her to express all of her concerns during public hearing comments period.
Yeah.
For that, because I don't believe it's not something that's been explicitly discussed.
Yeah.
Throughout the process as of yet. I mean, and quite honestly, we haven't touched that topic yet because the board's been focused on traffic and stormwater and now civil engineering. So now is actually the most appropriate time to have that discussion.
what is the, if you don't mind me to check, what is the town been leading towards as 40B is concerned?
What is the town's what?
What are the direction are they kind of leaning towards? Because I know like my sister lives in Marshall.
Is over a cliff a direction?
Well, I know, like she said, the residents of Marshall, when, you know, when.
Oh, you're talking about
You're talking
MBTA.
MBTA.
Yeah, the, I'm sorry. I'm talking-
MBTA is not, yeah. Yeah, 40B is the
Yeah, I'm sorry.
affordable housing.
I was mixing, yeah.
MBTA is-
MBTA would be a rezoning, so that would be allowed to put in 10 units per acre. I think it's still 10 per acre.
And I think our intention is for the fall town meeting.
Yeah.
To
But
bring
the,
that.
the 40Bs and the affordable housing are tied to a percentage, a 10% figure, just like everybody else is like. It's a magical figure. It's not 9.7, it's
Yeah.
10, let's make it 10.
It's not affordable, it's based on.
So you need, I don't know, I think you need real affordable housing, you know, for different types of home, of people. Like when you have kids getting out of school, it's just as different, they're different than somebody that's retired.
Hmm.
So the different, you make different types available.
Absolutely.
One of them is the detached,
ACUs, accessory dwelling.
yeah, accessory, but they don't have to be attached, they can be across the driveway.
Mhm.
It's nice to be close to the kids. But
Mhm.
you can get little-
So those are all issues that we're going to be discussing. So you came at a really good time.
Yeah.
So-
I left something behind, but I guess not.
But on the 40, the engineering, I mean, we're finding out now that this engineer designed a subject design for the senior housing on. whatever that
149.
Oh,
On
yeah.
North Street, whatever it was, and it's, you know, my vote was to hook up town water and sewer.
Hmm.
I was overruled,
Yes,
and that particular thing is not gonna support the size of even though it was submitted that way.
yeah,
Well,
So-
they did.
that's a concern.
149 Main is not.
No,
No.
Tom's talking about Cobbler's Creek.
Yes.
Oh.
it's great, but just the engineering, because
Yeah.
you can't stop these things because you say, we don't want
Oh,
it,
no.
we're zoning, you gotta have a reason, and a reason is bad engineering. It's just the cost of the town in the future is gonna be a big cost if these things back up and don't work, and we're taking them over as a project.
Yeah,
Well, this one they are hooking up.
this one is town sewer, town water. I can, if you want to talk about that on a future agenda, I'd be happy to elaborate on Cobblers Creek and the issues over there.
Oh,
Is there any waiver on hookup fees and monthly fees for those units or?
The 40B, we haven't talked about that, but I imagine they will be requesting.
That's a lot of money
Yeah.
to pay for.
Yeah, the 40B tomorrow. I've also got some appeals of the building commissioner's decision regarding both on Crockett Road. Yeah, there is a two-family, I'll call it a two-family, that was built as a two-family in 1948. The tax records have stated as such back to 1948, with some variability between now and then. Noted as a single family. The assessor, it's her opinion that that was a clerical error at some point, but anyway. A neighbor has challenged the legitimacy of that two-family as possibly never have even been constructed as a two-family, therefore not eligible for pre-existing non-conforming status, grandfathered status. And/or that even if it is a pre-existing non-conforming use, that use was expired and abandoned under the town's zoning bylaw for non-conforming structures. There's an abandonment clause in your zoning bylaw that says if something goes unused for 2 years, it loses its status as pre-existing. So that's been the challenge, to say that this two-family is not any longer a two-family. So that'll be an interesting conversation tomorrow night. Building commissioner is maintaining his opinion that it is a two-family and has not lost any of its rights therein.
it hasn't been used as a two-family?
No, that it has been used as a two-family,
Okay,
or maybe more clearly, the information hasn't been provided that would lead him to believe otherwise.
okay. Because that's what they're claiming. They're claiming it lost its grandfather.
Yeah, it's a difficult thing because really this type of claim, it's almost like having to prove a negative.
Yeah.
Taxes are one family?
Taxes two-family,
Since how long?
1948.
So they paid to have a two-family?
It sounds like this is.
What road is that?
Crockett.
Road. It sounds like this is a neighborhood squad.
I've had several
Yeah.
offers over the years turned down to have Crockett Road donated to Milford.
After
No charge.
tomorrow night's meeting, I'd be supportive.
Oh,
Because
is it Thursday next meeting?
Wednesday night, tomorrow
It's
night.
Wednesday night?
Yeah. And so, yeah, it's a concern. I mean, that's a concern for any pre-existing non-conforming use in town. You know, it'd be difficult for anyone.
Well, they're not getting away with it. They didn't hide it. They're paying for two-family taxes.
Yeah,
It's,
Yeah.
it's what they're paying.
even still, I'm trying to imagine any other like similar situation, but I haven't come across this before. You know, somebody could claim, somebody in town could claim somebody else in town has had an abandonment of their pre-existing non-conforming use, whatever it may be. And if you can't, if the person who holds the vested rights of the pre-existing non-conforming use can't produce information that is unwaverable to prove that beyond preponderance of doubt back to 1960 or whenever the use started.
That's out of compliance with zoning. Is that the basic issue?
Mhm.
How about every business along the street is out of compliance with
Yes.
front setbacks? Every
Yeah.
one of them. You're gonna make them move to town hall, it's out of compliance.
So, yeah. It's,
Oh, Tom, you gotta go to
Country
the,
soup.
it'll be an
It's
interesting,
out of compliance.
it'll be an interesting conversation. I know the attorney who represents the appellant. He's a very good attorney, so we'll see.
Who was the attorney?
Adam Costa. But, anyway, yeah, the other one is, short-term rentals. So, the commissioner issued an opinion regarding, short-term rentals for 95 Crockett Road. Who, posts on Airbnb and Vrbo and things like that. And the opinion was that short-term rentals are not an allowable use in town.
It happened to Northborough, what happened to Northborough a couple of days ago.
Oh, what happened in Northborough? I didn't hear.
They had a party, 300 kids showed up, a guy got, a Bellingham kid got killed.
Oh,
Yeah, it was a mansion, it was a million,
Right.
1.4 million, I think they, on Zillow, it's a huge, 300 kids were there. A couple other kids were taken to the hospital.
Hmm.
Yeah, this place was on Air Hub or whatever,
Oh, okay.
yeah, so it was short-term rental.
So thankfully, nothing like that has happened in town here, but
But that's Crockett Road.
yeah.
Yeah, Milford.
And then, as mentioned, RKG sent that feasibility study, but I haven't had a chance to look at it. They sent it today, but I sent it out to everybody.
Scanned it, that's, they did that really quick.
Yeah, I was really happy that they did it so quickly.
Yeah.
And I didn't have to call them and ask for it.
Did you send it to Charlie?
No, I haven't yet.
Yeah.
So we need to get Charlie on the,
Yeah.
Wasn't official.
you'll get on
Yeah.
the email group that you get everything.
Okay, thank you.
Because that does have to do with the MBTA communities. It was a feasibility study, so to press for.
Struck me as if they have a formula, frankly, just wrapping numbers and.
Yeah.
They've done it before using the same model.
Oh, yeah, they've done it several times, yeah.
I had some questions. Sure, guess we can wait until we.
I'm not well suited to answer them yet, so. And we can, I'm sure, I can probably have them join us for a discussion of it. I think that was part of the scope, to have them come in and.
Oh, yeah.
So, we can certainly do that maybe next time. We'll talk about Mayflower later. Town meeting, the three of the articles passed, the other one, 5G, just got referred back to zoning planning board for further study. The issue with that was just that town council had a lot of concerns about how the change of the language from when it was initially discussed here, or advertised through public hearing, and then the final language as it had changed through the recommendation of the planning board. And just the adequately capturing all of those changes in the handout that town council required me to provide ahead of town meeting. So it was basically just like a clerical / technical issue that town council was flagging. It was frustrating that they flagged it 3 hours ahead of town meeting. But, oh, well, we'll proceed. I'm sure I'll defer to the board if you want to take that issue up again for the fall town meeting. You're obviously in good condition to do so. You already have the final recommended language. You could just go with that, and then you don't have to worry about tracking any changes. And that'd be the language.
Yeah, my recommendation, and, we'll obviously discuss it later, but Laurie Woden, one of the
Mhm.
people who, was supporting this, was very, very gracious.
Yes.
And, I think that the expectation is that we will bring it up at the fall town meeting. And so I don't see any reason why we wouldn't.
It's certainly ready to go.
Yeah.
So,
The only reason is that you don't like to do major changes at the follow, be doing with an annual. Is this considered major? Is this be considered something
I would defer to the planning board.
like a zoning change? I don't know if this is really a zoning.
We're gonna be talking probably MBTA communities at the fall town meeting. It's gonna be a big one.
All right.
We can talk to the to the bylaw proponents and see what their preference is. But I would rather defer to that because this was unfortunate. I mean, it was 3 hours before.
There's no chance of 5G coming into this town this year. No chance of fiber optics coming into town this year. It's just not gonna happen.
You and I have done this personality.
I'm still working.
It's like, who are you? Who am I?
Through the chair, I'm still working with the proponents to identify rules and regulations that can be proposed to the select board to adopt. And as I've spoken with Lori about it, and I had to remind her that the bylaw was only ever going to control for private property. And most of 5G, if it were to come to town, is going to be within the public right of way. It's
Main Street.
and that's and the zoning bylaw would not have addressed Main Street. It would have addressed 1 Main Street, 2 Main Street. And so that's still something that can happen outside of town meeting, through public hearing, through the select board, should they decide to be supportive of adopting rules and regulations that would, provide the oversight that she would prefer to have on that use of town. That is it.
Yeah, my recommendation is just continue the conversations, but with deference when possible to her and David.
Mhm.
They put so much work into it.
But yeah, November would be fine, because the other thing is it just puts it out there that, when it comes in, it's gonna be, because one of the things in that says it's doesn't involve the right of way, that the selectman will be responsible. It's one of the key parts of it. that-
Yes.
So you can put it on November, and even if they come in, it's really not gonna be the planning boards. We're not gonna have a big public hearing, special permit thing that's gonna last. Most of it's gonna be in the selectmen's hands, not ours. So we can go for it.
Okay. So, next item on the agenda was Margaret coming tonight? Because I'm reluctant to,
So we can just, if it's okay, we could just finish the meeting. We'll push this off until 2 weeks. We can reorg in 2 weeks. Sign all the
we
things.
get to be chair for another meeting.
I can put up with.
There has been a real switch here. It's like, come on. Okay,
If that's all right with the rest of the board.
Sure. I see no problem with it.
so do we want to do the appointments to committees, or do we want to appoint Margaret to all of them?
Yeah, we'll wait. We can wait in the committees because, but now that we have Charlie, we have an extra member, the valued member we can appoint.
Yes, yes. And then, so we'll wait until the next meeting on that one as well.
If you had your preference, would capital budget or the Central Mass Regional Planning or what's CPC?
See, community preservation.
So those are the choices. Anything strike your fancy? Community preservation, Central Mass, capital budgeting, we like money.
I did the, we had the budgeting, interacting with the budgeting people quite a bit. This down in Connecticut, it was always an interesting thing. I'm not too familiar with isn't that the Central Mass Regional Planning?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's our regional planning agencies, MPOs, much like you had down in Connecticut.
Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty interesting thing, because you get the more the global, I'll call it the global.
You can
What's going on.
add them
But
to the list of the when Central Mass sends out the thing or from you.
Oh, yeah.
Get them a list.
But we can discuss this, if you want to just Google them, see what they're all about, that would be great.
We can hold off of those for 2 weeks.
Summer and fall meeting schedule, we can do that without Margaret, I
We
would
can
guess.
do that now. I would move that in July and August, we hold 1 meeting for the month on that month. Pick one.
I would do the beginning of August, I'm on vacation the last 2 weeks of July.
So August 13th, and there'll be no meeting on the 27th. And in July, we'll have the meeting July 9th, we'll be off on the 4th, so we'll cancel the 9th and have it on the 23rd,
23rd of what?
July.
I'll be on vacation.
Um,
I did it remotely last year, I prefer not to this year.
what about the 9th?
I can do the night.
9th or 23rd?
Oh, yeah. I think I'm gonna like this committee.
All right,
Both work for me.
okay, so we'll meet on the 9th and the 13th. So we'll have the 4th Tuesday of July off and the 4th Tuesday of August off.
That's good.
And that will be our summer schedule.
So one meeting in July and one meeting in August.
Just the second meeting. We were second and Tuesday.
And don't worry, we do have our 4-hour meetings too.
It is a pain in the butt when you do have one after a month because, you know,
Yeah, quite a bit, so.
And so in June, it would be the 11, I know that's not part of the calendar that you're voting on, but it's in June, Grace, it's be the 11th and the 25th.
Yeah.
Okay. Just want to make sure I have that right for my own.
Then the next was sign Worcester Register of Deeds planning board document.
if we, Margaret still has to sign it, but we have to sign both sides. One is for your Form As and one is for your subdivisions. So there's two different signatures.
Oh, I'm not gonna be here for the 25th, June 25th. Not that
But we
Affect
can,
this
but
committee.
we can sign and just have her come in whenever.
Yeah, she can see it on not all of them.
Yeah, you're such a tease. You put your pen over here and then you took it away. No, I got one. I gotta use it.
Yeah.
I love you sticking pen.
I won't be here for June 25th, that meeting, but I'm sure you'll be fine. Grace. And you survived without me. Right.
So sign the top and then the bottom.
You have like a little all figure. Like just-
Are you picking on me or are you talking about something
No,
else?
I was picking on my,
So election appoint, I don't know.
What?
I don't know when I was elected. It wants to know the month,
Oh.
date, the year.
Do we have the old one?
Huh?
Filled out? That's the old thing.
I don't remember signing this to tell you the truth.
Just sign it, we can always fill that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
It's sort of like I always fill out the precincts. You sign up.
No special order this time? I would go out of order.
this goes to the registry of deeds, so that when you sign a Form A or a special permit, they match up. Will be you on any. It's just a different.
You know, you weren't, so we dragged it from the street. It's
Any
signed it.
plan that you sign, whether it's a formation division, they'll match up your signature to that.
Okay,
I
I
didn't
think
see the bottom.
And one's for subdivisions and one's for Form A. There's actually two different.
Charlie doesn't sign either of these, but he can vote on
Special permit.
special permits.
Mhm.
Okay, so
And if we wanted to, there is a precedent that has associate members involved in administrative tasks. We'd probably have to vote on that.
Okay,
But you can involve them in things like budgets, signing budgets, voting to approve.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, things that can be involved.
yes.
Tommy's been on the planning board for about 80 years, so he knows
Yeah.
all the issues there.
You're like at 46 or something at this point,
Pardon me?
46 or something?
Yeah, maybe 45,
Yeah.
even 79. I was on 79 for 1 year. Thought it'd be done.
Okay. So next on the agenda is discussion of 3032 Mendon Street. Determine, is it Mendon Street or Mendon Road?
Ooh, Mendon Street, did I write Mendon Road somewhere?
Well, when the document's online, you had one of each.
It's,
Um,
I'm confident it's Mendon Street, but yeah.
I was on Mendon Road. What is the street going down to Nipmuc?
It's Mendon Street.
Mendon Street.
I'm just looking.
Nipmuc is on Pleasant.
Oh, I'm sorry. Nipmuc used to be down there. Vista.
The one you-
When I went down,
It's a
that's
Mendon.
where Nipmuc was.
Yeah, it's definitely Mendon Street. Indiana Street.
Okay.
So I'll just, I guess summarize. I sent out a review memo and a short review of case law regarding this issue. So as you may recall, 30 and 32 Mendon Street come before this board for a special permit for a common driveway. That was back in 2022. 2021, excuse me, 2021, because I have it in the timeline here. And planning board issued special permit approval for common driveway pursuant to section 300 6.1. And I just noted that a draft shared easement and maintenance agreement was shared with the board in that June of 2021. I mentioned that because that was a condition of the approval.
Actually, the decision says they approved the agreement.
Yeah, oh, it said that they approved it. Oh. Well, there it is. In March of 2022, DPW issued a driveway permit for the construction of the common driveway. Bill in March of 22 as well, building permit is pulled for 32 Menon Street. And that plan shows both the homes of 30 and 32 proposed along the common driveway submitted as part of that building permit. In July of 2023, the planning board issued a 6-month extension of the special permit. Now, at the time, I said in my comments here, at the time of the request for the extension, it was unclear if any permits or anything had been pulled at that time. But it seemed unnecessary to go through that since I had the applicant who was actively asking to come to the board for an extension anyway. So it was sort of like, all right, well, no harm to just ask for the extension. So then fast forward to basically where we are now. There've been really no action had been taken. They reached out to me in January of this year, asking if it was appropriate to come back to the board for a 6-month extension. I did a little bit more research into extension of special permits and things of that nature at that time. And what I found was, and what I detailed in basically the review of the case law, was that so long as that the applicants who have received the special permits are actively pursuing their special permits, the courts have maintained that they keep their vested rights. And the special permit does not lapse. If they do not exercise the rights that are granted with the special permit within what is now 3 years, they extended it recently, but 3 years, but locally 2 years, if you do not exercise on those rights within 2 years, it would expire. But if an applicant is showing that they are continuing to pursue it, the courts typically defer to either the building commissioner as to their take on it to see if the rights have expired, or the special permit granting authority of this board.
Is the special permit for the construction of the common driveway?
It's for the use of a common driveway, right? It's so, yeah, I guess the construction of it. That's why I noted the driveway permit was obtained.
It means they haven't built anything yet, still.
What I'm talking about is the construction of the driveway being the special permit, the thing. Generally, what they try to do is they try to lock these in, so when the like when we signed that's subdivision, what they want us to do, they want us to
We haven't signed.
they want us to do that, just to lock in.
Yeah.
So, and nothing's changed on the roadway layout, nothing's changed on that. There's been no change to what would be expected of him. He's not getting away with anything. And if it's just a special permit for the common driveway use of it, he can extend it.
It's basically asked the what's before this board is just asking to, if you agree with, my take on it is that I think he secured the rights. Pat Roach's take on it as building commissioner, that he also agrees that he thinks he's secured the rights. The applicant, well, not the prospective buyer's attorney came to me with this question just out of an extreme abundance of caution before they proceed with the sale, to make sure that this board is in agreement with myself and.
Which is always a good sign anyway, when they want.
There's no negative impact to the town
Yeah.
if this is allowed to be continued.
You don't have to take any official vote on it, but if you want to just indicate if you're agreeable to that.
And you can relay it to them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a pretty strict, even though it's a common driveway, it's still built very close to town standards.
Yeah.
The width is a little bit reduced, but you still have the binder code.
You have very
the
strict
code,
regulations on that.
everything sub-base,
Yeah.
pretty similar for, there's no drainage. We don't have any, there's no catch basins or anything, but.
Yeah, honestly, the prospective buyer, if this board had any doubt as to the vested rights, They were just immediately file the same exact special permit and go. to the police. Yeah.
So does anyone have any problem with Mike relaying to the owner that? Okay.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Great.
So that driveway is actually built to a higher standard than most driveways.
Yeah, oh, yeah, yeah.
Certainly better than mine.
Yeah.
Mine,
Well, we did it to discourage, I mean, when we did that, we did it to discourage common driveways. We didn't need people fighting with each other. Neighbors.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
when I
yeah.
first started with this board,
It's like, why do you think we have 240 feet of frontage? You way over there and you way over there. We don't need common
No.
driveways.
I mean, who was the guy, when I first started the planning board, there was an ongoing conversation, a fight over a common driveway down off of Fence.
7 houses on one
Who
drive.
was the guy?
I forget, it's up on going with Westboro.
Oh, no, I thought it was going down towards Mendon.
Oh, that's another one. That's Mickey.
Mickey, yes, yes.
Yeah, he finally said, screw the town, I'm leaving. But we held a lot back. We held one lot for securities because we didn't trust him. So he had one lot, he wanted to build and move it in himself. But the neighbors would have killed him. So they didn't
Oh, yeah.
finish anything.
Yeah, common driveway.
But he would have been safe in that house.
So speaking of driveways, which is probably what we just talked about better than this one. Mayflower Drive road acceptance.
Oh, I thought, Joe Lasano was gonna be joining us from DGC.
Yeah, I kept looking up there. I didn't see him.
Let me email him real quick, see if he's.
Yeah, I ended up driving up there the other day because the Buy Nothing site in Upton had something I wanted to pick up and I'm like, oh, I've heard of it.
How's the drainage across the street? Because that was the big issue with that issue that was
It looks like crap. the whole-
flooding out the whole right side.
I mean, both sides of it. I mean, it looks like an active construction zone. It looks like the photographs.
Yeah, I walked down there because it's just down the street from where I am.
Oh, okay.
Sauntered through it and looked around and stuff. Yes, they just have the rough layer of
Yeah.
bituminous down there and the rest is all pretty much undeveloped.
And the sides are all gravel and,
Yeah.
15 years been working on that. I think the 15 years you started.
Seriously?
what, there's 5 houses on?
It's 4 houses.
4 houses?
Yeah, I mean, they got good acreage and
But it is basically a common driveway,
I was just gonna say,
It is
if you're talking
not.
about the common driveway, it's pretty much.
except it's not a standard for a common driveway.
The cul-de-sac in the end.
Well, he went to the zoning board of appeals instead of the planning. And
Okay,
the zoning,
the developer,
yeah, and the zoning board gave it to him.
cable one.
It's okay to build a common driveway. They didn't do the drainage, they didn't do the study, they didn't have the review that said, if we do this, it's gonna flood out over here and you can't come.
So
Anyway,
how did the ZBA determine that they had the authority to grant the special?
that's a great question. I don't believe there's an answer,
Okay,
but they did grant it to him and
they almost granted somebody the, of course, the authority to put in a solar farm on Westboro Road.
yeah, well, they did give it to him.
I don't think they quite, oh, well, that's right, I think the planning board said, no, then.
We said no. The zoning board said yes, and then they said, well, they're not the ones that say yes.
They don't have the authority.
And that was a great because it was a special permit and a site plan. Site plan was beautiful. Great, well engineered. I voted for the site plan, but the special permit. He never went to the neighborhood, never talked to any of the people and they were all pissed, so.
Yeah.
No, in fact, it was 2 to 2.
Yeah.
That you didn't, it's gonna be detrimental to the neighborhood and the special permit phase. So, that was, then we went to court and I think we won, right?
I wasn't on the.
I
planning board.
think they
They withdrew. Yeah.
Yeah, they withdrew, and then the town owns that land now, right?
Most of it was sold to the state,
Oh.
or 11 state.
Okay,
forest.
but so, yes, yeah.
And there's an 11-acre estate parcel here, somebody bought recently.
Have the residents from Mayflower come in and talk to y'all about,
They haven't, they've talked to Michael about
I've
it.
been in
Michael's talked
contact
to us
with them.
about it. Oh,
I don't know, do they have any problems there? I mean, it looks,
well, the problems were they weren't, they're not getting plowed, the mail, you know, it's like just,
right,
you know, and it's, you know, quite honestly, it's not. When they bought those houses, they were promised certain things,
I'm
they
sure.
didn't get,
yeah,
you know, and I think that's part of the big issue, but,
yeah.
you know, they paid a premium for those houses on the condition that it's gonna be access and egress, it's gonna be up to standards and,
Right,
you know, and now they have drainage that doesn't work, they have culverts that aren't sunken.
yeah.
They have gravel on the side paths, they have construction all over the place.
Yeah, not the best. I was just wondering what, if they came in and said, you know, we're having, you know, this proliferate of problems. Just to kind of give you an idea of what y'all might be faced with when the town.
Yeah.
Gets asked to, you know, adopt it, you know, because there's gonna be a price tag with finishing some of that up.
Well, that's what we've been, you know, because it's not really, to the best of my knowledge, a planning board issue. Because it's a issue that the owners have to take up with
Yeah,
with the developer.
yeah,
There is a bond, a small bond,
performance bond too.
performance bond left, but not too much. Now in Connecticut, the zoning and the planning were the same board, right?
We, yes, we
Yeah.
had a zoning enforcement officer sat with us in our town planner. And we went through essentially went through everything.
So there wasn't a separate zoning board.
You know, we did it all.
So you had nobody you could
Oh,
blame.
you didn't also,
There was a lot of things.
Zoning board did it, not us.
you didn't also have a zoning board of appeals?
We did, we had a ZBA.
Okay,
Yeah, we did have a ZBA.
okay.
Oh, so, yeah, planning and zoning just called out one of the major responsibilities we call planning board.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, that's, I mean, it feels like we was, you know, designed much like you all are here. And then ZBA, it was the people who let them break the rules that we tried to set up, I just keep kidding them.
Does the ZBA appeal go to the, Worcester Court?
Land court.
So did you get him?
No, so he won't be joining us.
But there's really no change to that, right?
No, I just offered to have to bring him on to, if there were questions about, how to proceed with that. But if necessary, I'll ask him to join us at the next meeting. I did follow up with him, you know, I asked him, you know, of the report, is there anything the board or the town should focus on as far as priorities of what is incomplete, right?
Yeah, right.
He didn't have really any suggestion to that, because he would defer to, he said he would mostly defer to what DPW thinks is most important. So I spoke with Dennis, you know, Dennis was, I think what Dennis said was his biggest priority, I think, is especially with the road itself, was if the base that's in, sections of it needed to be completely redone, right? So like the base that's in has not been cared for. There's not been a top coat binder course to keep it all intact. So I don't know how many years of use at this point. It's probably degraded that base to where there are probably parts of it that needs to be completely dug out and reestablished.
I didn't see that. I didn't see any problem. I mean, I didn't
No.
investigate it that closely.
No, I did not. No, honestly, I mean,
Yeah,
it looked whole and it was almost intact, but
Yeah.
the initial rough surface.
I mean, I think it needs a final coat and I think it definitely needs the drainage work. And those culverts need to be something because they're hazardous.
Yeah, and the problem obviously is the price tag associated with it,
Yeah.
with everything. We have a roughly $70,000 bond to use to the work. I know Dennis also suggested that a lot of that money could possibly be best used in legal resources, you know, or engineering resources to create a plan that needs to be prepared for road acceptance. I mean, that's gonna be a large chunk of change as well, just to create the easements that need to be approved by the select board and adopted,
Well, the
right?
total price tag for everything was about 120, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, because it seems like there are certain things that if you're going into
Mhm.
and the bond is what, 79? It's close to
I
80.
think it was 69.
16, okay, so about 70.
Yeah.
But it seems like the curbing and stuff like that, you can almost do,
Yeah,
you know, the neighbors can sue for that.
yeah.
You know, but I think there's certain things that are safety.
Yeah.
You know, the construction debris, I think, needs to be removed.
And it sounded like, and Bill, correct me if I'm wrong, Dennis also thought that, you know, putting the bituminous on top was maybe not the most pressing because when when DPW is, coming through and repairing roads, we can add that onto, the price tag of doing other, road work, in the future.
Because we have a piece of equipment that fixes.
Yeah, reduces the cost of it. So like, obviously, if you do just that, again, I don't know how long it is. I want to say like maybe 800 linear feet of road on that. To just bring all the equipment and all the labor out just to do that road, economies to scale is gonna be working against you for sure, but. So those are the conversations I've had so far about that. We'll continue to have those conversations. I did email the report to the developer. I have not heard back from him. So I will attempt to give him a call at some point to discuss it with him to utilize that, the bond.
And who makes the decision about how we parse out the money that we're holding?
I think it's gonna be a conversation through this board mostly, with myself and DPW to help identify how that should best be used.
So when do you think that we can have that conversation?
I want to get a hold of the developer first and then,
I guess it's a silly question, but what does the developer have to do with it? Because he's already said he's not coming up with anything.
It was recommended by town council that I loop him in to identify using that money sort of, with him to an extent.
Okay. And he's not receptive to your overtures.
I don't know, you could just use it anyway.
I was gonna say, isn't he just corporate or not?
I think essentially, yeah.
Did we waive concrete burn on that one, on that subdivision?
Did you waive a concrete berm?
Don't, the bylaw says you put in concrete, not bitumen.
Oh, see, I'm just speaking. But yeah,
Curbing?
Curbing.
I think you had to put in granite or something.
Granted, excuse me,
Yeah.
granted, and sometimes we just waive it and put the granite around what the catch basins, I guess,
Oh,
where we put the
Mhm.
granite and the rest of it's bituminous.
Okay,
Well,
I do like the Cape Cod berms.
But I think our bylaws say it's all granite.
But the thing is, if we have to figure out if we have a limited amount of money to make that road whole,
Mhm.
granite curbing is expensive.
But once the plow hits, it's real tough to get that back in. If the plow hits bituminous, we can fix it. So
Yeah.
I'm not so sure we should in all cases.
That makes sense though.
Right, but in this case, we could always discuss waiving the granite.
Mhm.
I hate to waive something. It's good for one guy. You should do it for everybody, you know? We should we should look at the differences between why do we take granite in the first place? Because it's indestructible and lasts forever.
Yeah.
That's true.
But again, when we're dealing with 70,000, when the total price tag today is 120, and you're thinking of the people who live there,
Yeah.
it's like, what is in the best interest of
And we
the,
can fix it.
Well, it's in a cul-de-sac that it's gonna get whacked by a plow, because they're gonna come in there and do the curve. and
Always.
They're gonna hit.
Or it's gonna wreck our plow.
Yeah, that's
Granite wrecks their stuff. But that's our bylaw, says you put in granite.
a straight line, it's not a big deal, but in that area,
Yeah,
it'll get ruined.
so we need to try to come up with the minimum that we can do, I guess I want to say.
and that's what I'm recommending,
And
but
then
I think it's,
Put the price tag on that and for the town to accept it.
We could just do the mouth of the street, that's one of the places we put it at where the roads intersect. And catch basins.
catch basins. And picking up the crap.
And the town can take care of the bituminous herbs
Mhm.
as they get to it.
And the drainage.
And there is.
There's only one drain there.
Yeah, there's a drainage issue. It's not like a pond. It's the drain.
For every 500 feet, that's not that long of a road to begin with. Right?
Yeah,
No,
I think we have 500 feet apart.
Okay.
There's a standard, there's a minimum distance or a maximum distance for catch basins.
all right. Close.
Yeah, and the other thing, just, not. Okay,
I'm
so,
done with it.
okay, are we done with this conversation? Because the other thing that, I think both me and Mike forgot was that we're supposed to have Governor's Landing on the agenda for this meeting.
I
Um,
move
And we didn't put it on the agenda, so we've,
not reasonably anticipated 48 hours in advance. The chairman could bring it up anytime. Would you like to talk about that? Would you like a motion?
well, I think we need them there.
Oh, I mean, if you're gonna talk about the preliminary subdivision, I mean, I already reached out to them, they're fine, I mean, they're fine.
They're fine.
The next meeting.
I would move that the planning board vote to accept their preliminary application. And when the definitive is filed, refer to whatever section subdivision control is and no
Yeah.
waivers have been granted. That protects us from not saying it's okay, build it just like it is,
Yeah,
but they can use that as the,
I mean, we can certainly finalize that at the next meeting with them.
that would be the,
The only,
right?
the only outstanding item with them was, this board was still considering possibly going out to peer review at this time. And that was, seemed to be the direction we were heading. So,
For what is we doing?
no, I mean, to your sentiment is it seemed to be the direction that we were not heading. So.
Yeah.
It was left unfinished business is all.
They're only using it as a placeholder, just in case their subdivision fails, they have something so that if the zoning changes or any subdivision control changes, they don't have to follow them because they're grandfathered in because of this.
Yeah.
Preliminary.
And the only thing that concerned me about it was the affordables. Because right now the zoning doesn't include, or does it? Because we have inclusionary zoning now.
As of right now, you have inclusionary zoning.
Has it been okayed by the Attorney General yet?
No.
But it reverts back to when.
It'll revert
town
back to
meeting.
town meeting if approved.
Okay.
So.
So,
Well,
yes,
we'll know, I think by August at the latest if it's.
Yeah.
Attorney General.
but it'll revert back. So if we vote on it next meeting,
Mhm.
the inclusionary zoning will.
There's only 3 lots.
Oh, no, they've already, to the purpose of it, they submitted the preliminary before.
Yeah.
So they've
Lots.
secured the, not the exemption, but the current zoning.
Correct,
Yeah.
but if this subdivision fails and they come forward with a new one, which is
Oh,
the
yeah.
purpose of this, then they
Yes.
have to put them in.
Yes,
It's-
yes.
Currently, they're exempted from change just by filing it, as far as I know.
Mhm.
Yes, but the thing is, it's my understanding that they want this protection in case this particular project fails.
So I say,
And then if it fails and they come back,
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah.
we haven't voted on it
The
yet.
point you're making, I shouldn't be talking about this so much without it being on the agenda, but I think that, but
Not
generally,
reasonably anticipated.
generally, the discussion about Mass General Law and subdivision control law, I believe, even though someone had submitted a preliminary plan, the definitive subdivision plan can change from the preliminary plan, and then it can change subsequently after that.
Yeah.
And still be locked under the current zoning at the time of the filing, not zoning as it has changed.
and the reason is there's only 2 ways, either the zone, either was already in there,
Mhm.
when you put it in there, so it's fine, or it was changed after you submitted and so whether you change it, definitives change all the time.
Yes.
Because they have to go to different boards, things change, board
Mhm.
houses, you can't do that, so things change, so you're really locked in from the beginning.
Mhm.
But for our purposes, and what we've done in the past is, we just say, yes, we received your preliminary.
Mhm.
When the definitive is filed, please follow
Yeah.
section, no waivers have been granted.
Yeah.
So we haven't committed to anything.
Yeah, it doesn't, and it does nothing at this stage, it complicates any
They don't need
future
us to
decision of the board, yeah, exactly.
They're done with just giving it to us.
Mhm.
So I just say, yeah, it's fine, thanks, just have a nice day.
Yeah.
And you send it back.
So when you made your motion, that was just a motion, you only get the next meeting, right?
Well, the motion was just simply to say, we received your application, received your preliminary subdivision. When the definitive is filed, no waivers have been granted. Well, but I don't have the number, I don't have the section down, so I'll withdraw
I would suggest not voting on it.
I'll withdraw my motion, Madam Chair.
So you can still say that. Okay. Any other thing we need to talk about? Okay, do I hear a motion to adjourn? So moved, second?
Second.
Okay, we are adjourned.